Good morning, YouTube. Happy Wednesday. I'm out on a morning walk before heading to the gym. I like to go on a walk outside every single morning to help me keep my sleep schedule in check, keep that circadian rhythm at a good level. So unfortunately we live in the Midwest where we don't see the sun from like November through March. So unfortunately there's no sun out here, but when there is, I like to let those sun rays come into my eyeballs, let the sun rays hit my retinas. That just really helps regulate your circadian rhythm. So on mornings like this where there really isn't much sunlight, I like to do a little bit of light therapy, so red light therapy, just to get that, emulate that sun rays, sun exposure to help keep my sleep schedule on point. So I'm gonna go stand in front of the Juve for just a few minutes before heading to the gym. I don't think Juve and like light therapy boxes are absolutely necessary, especially if you live in a region that has good sun exposure. The doggos say, good morning, good morning, good morning. So I would say that the Juve is one thing that has really helped me keep my circadian rhythm in check and fix my sleep schedule. So I don't know, yeah, you can kind of see these. This is like kind of emulating sun rays. It's not as powerful, but it does better than nothing.
Oh my gosh, it's on again. It's on again. So this popped up in the car one day. The Beetle,
because our car's like Bluetooth and connects to my phone.
On his travels by Alan Skylar. And I was like, what is this new playlist you're listening to? And so Ashley informed me that she had been listening to bedtime stories to help soothe her mind before going to sleep. And
I made her do it.
I tried it. It's like we got an app that has bedtime stories and somebody talks to you with a soothing voice, and it's wonderful. Particularly have not listened to the Beetle who went on his travels, but I think it's cool that Ashley can't actually tell me how the story ends because it makes her fall asleep when she listens to it.
Yeah, so I have like a really active mind and I really used to struggle with sleep onset. Listening to bedtime stories, so there's a few apps you can like download on your phone.
Play Alan's voice.
Okay.
Forth from the stable, where the farrier had been shoeing the horse. Great ones first, of course.
Okay, so Alan is like one of my favorites. He has such a soothing voice. But these bedtime stories, you like really try to visualize and get involved in the story, and it makes me fall asleep like within 5 minutes. I've never fallen asleep this fast before. So if you struggle with sleep onset, definitely recommend. There's like a few apps you can download for bedtime stories, and I think there's even bedtime stories like on YouTube itself. But
Probably.
Has really helped me specifically. I haven't made it through this story because it's kind of just so like silly, but you get so into it, and it's just.
So I guess that's sleep tip number one.
Yeah.
Sleep tip number one: the Beetle who went on his journey.
But now we are at the gym.
Travels.
My chauffeur drove us to the gym. And what do we have today?
Today is a deadlift workout, and then we've got glutes and back, I think.
Yeah, B cubed.
Yeah,
so back,
B cubed lift.
biceps.
Beetle who went on his travels.
got back from the gym. Reminder, if you are doing these lifts with us, be sure to use hashtag STRONGSISTASLIFTS so we can follow along. Deadlifts felt great, and now it's time to nourish these muscles with meal number 1. So we have 2 of these plates. What do we have here?
So prep this in like less than 5 minutes because we've got a super busy day today. That's one of the benefits of having our nose to tail feast. We have leftovers to use for the rest of the week. So we've got the brisket that we made on the nose to tail feast, the sweetbread and egg quiche, raw beef suet, and then some lightly seared liver in butter on a cast iron. Everything aggressively seasoned with Redmond sea salt. All right,
Let's eat, yo. And now we are sharing some quick tips, our favorite tips to enhance your sleep health.
So I think 1 out of 2 adults are chronically sleep deprived, and that's just a huge issue because sleep is king. Sleep is so important. It's linked to metabolism, so it can affect the way you digest food. Sleep and anxiety.
That plays a lot of role in like your body fat percentage.
Absolutely.
And your ability to put on muscle.
Absolutely. It's known that your gut and your brain is linked. So there's so many connections that your sleep is going to play a role in. So I used to never consider sleep. I used to sleep 3 to 4 hours a night and just say I can sleep later and I'll push off that. And so we are in no way sleep experts, but in these past 2 years, I've really improved my sleep. And now I sleep 7 to 8 hours a night. I get good deep sleep, good REM sleep, confirmed by my Oura Ring. So we are here to share 5 tips that we have implemented over the last year or 2 that have really helped our sleep. So first is just blue light exposure in general. So you guys will probably notice we'll wear, so these are my daytime blue light blockers. These really help with just too much blue light exposure during the day. And then these are our nighttime blue light blockers.
Our construction swag shades.
Construction swag shades. So blue light exposure is especially important closer to bedtime. So consider your blue light exposure 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. There was a study comparing a group of individuals who were just reading a book with a dim light versus a group that was reading from an iPad. And it showed that the group that was reading from an iPad had 20% reduction in the amount of melatonin that their body produced, reduced REM sleep, and their max melatonin, their peak melatonin production occurred 3 hours later. So it can just lead to a lot of anxiety buildup close to bedtime. So try to limit the amount of blue light exposure closer to bed.
Number 2 is to pay attention to complete darkness.
Yeah.
And that includes lights that would be like in your hallway, in your bedroom, when you're going from wherever you are to your bedroom. You want to make sure that you are in complete darkness. And
again, like close to 1 to 2 hours before bedtime.
Yeah, before bed. And a good way you can help do that is by using these like red lights, wall plug-in. So I got these for Ashley for her birthday, and we set up a trail from downstairs to our bedrooms, just straight up red lights. So we're not getting any additional blue light exposure closer to bedtime.
And we'll show you guys that little path that we have.
Yeah. And another thing that helps with complete darkness in your bedroom, if you wake up in the middle of the night, if you have one of these handy dandy eye covers on,
I'm a koala.
nothing can bother you. Like sometimes cars will drive past my bedroom window and it'll be like extremely bright, but if I have these guys on,
koala,
it doesn't bother me.
So get yourself some eye shade things.
Yes.
All right, so number 3 is to consider the temperature, so both of your house and your body. So your body actually must drop in internal body core temperature in order to have optimal sleep. So a few ways that you can do this are, 1, take a hot shower before bed. So a lot of people say cold shower, but a hot shower causes vasodilation, so it pulls blood from your internal organs out towards your skin. So that's going to make the internal body temperature drop.
I would say that just going to bed clean in general,
yeah, that too,
also feels really nice, and that includes clean sheets.
Yeah. So also make sure that your house is set to a cold temperature. Optimal temperature is 63 to 66 degrees, which is pretty cold for some people, but that's really going to help your body decrease in temperature.
We really have to pay attention to this because I sleep with 2 dogs in my bedroom.
Yes.
And I notice if I don't turn the air down, or especially during the summer, it gets very hot in there and my sleep suffers.
Yes. And also note that your body's temperature can rise when it's digesting food, so you may need to consider your meal timing. So that leads us to tip number 4, meal timing.
So don't eat right up before bed, especially if you're eating a lot of protein. It increases your core body temperature, and digesting food in itself is complicated for your body, and that might keep you up in the middle of the night. So especially if you're doing like OMAD, it would be wise to keep your meal, the end of your meal, at least like 2 to 3 hours before bedtime.
Yeah, I know that there are some people who can eat a big meal and then go to bed, and that's totally fine. For us, we know that if we eat a huge meal, we get super thirsty after that meal,
Yes.
so therefore we chug a bunch of water, and that leads to a lot of wake-ups in the middle of the night. And this is something that we still struggle with, would be
especially if we salt
pee
aggressively.
wake-ups. Yes.
There's like this desire to drink a bunch of water before bed, and then
Yes.
we get up 3 or 4 times in the middle of the night. That's where, when you get up in the middle of the night, these guys come into play.
Yes. Okay, and that brings us to number 5, and that's going to be sleep supplements. So 2 things that are a no. Would not suggest relying on melatonin, so taking a melatonin supplement, because taking an exogenous source, so a pill of melatonin, is going to reduce your endogenous production, meaning the amount that your body produces. So the more,
become more reliant on it.
yeah, the more that you take melatonin, the less that your body is going to produce. So if you're relying on it right now, that's fine, but I would suggest like teetering off of it, so lowering your amount, and try to optimize other parameters of your sleep. And then also, please don't rely on sleeping pills. Those are really linked. The sleeping pills have a high association with cancer and other types of illnesses, weakened immune system, and it's been shown that sleeping pills, they don't lead to good natural sleep. They actually like sedate your brain, similar to how your body sleeps when you drink alcohol. So it's not leading to the most restful sleep to begin with. Yes, it gets you to sleep, but it's not like natural sleep.
It's kind of obvious, but pay attention supplement-wise when you're taking your caffeine.
Yes.
And if you are a slow metabolizer of caffeine, don't have any caffeine several hours before bedtime, and keep that into the morning.
Yes, but one supplement that we would suggest trying, and this has really helped me, is glycine.
Let's show them our carnivore soda.
About an hour, hour and a half, 2-ish hours before bedtime, we like to have our carnivore soda. So what is carnivore soda? So it is the glycine supplement that we were talking about earlier. So we just buy our glycine from Bulk Supplements. We get it off Amazon. It's pretty cheap. And it's about, so if you're just starting, I would say start with like 3 to 5 grams. Some days we have 10 grams, 5 to 10 grams. Just, I started with 5 grams. Now we're like on average about 10 grams a night. And so I pour that into a glass cup right here. As you can see, it's on the bottom. Would suggest putting the glycine in first, and then we add in sparkling water, so it becomes like a soda, because glycine itself has a slight sweet taste. So it's not as strong as sugar, nowhere near as strong as sugar. So glycine in here, and then we add the sparkling water. If you did the opposite order and did sparkling water first and add the glycine, it's like a chemical science experiment that kind of explodes. So glycine first, then add the sparkling water. So glycine has really helped me with my sleep onset, and that's because it helps with serotonin production, which is then going to improve melatonin, your body's ability to produce melatonin. And then once you pour in the sparkling water, the glycine itself is not going to mix, so make sure you have a straw and aggressively stir that, and stir in between sips. Frequently asked question is, does glycine spike blood sugar? And no, it does not. We had a friend who uses a continuous glucose monitor. She tested a carnivore soda for us, and it did not spike blood glucose.
It is finally time for platter number 2 of the day.
So Sarah's plate's here, my plate's here.
Pretty much identical. So we're going on a tour de steaks. So we have some seared round steak, some chuck steak, and then some of the leftover beef brisket. We've got a side plate of 2 over easy eggs, and a roasted chicken foot out of the bone broth,
Chicken fitis.
and then a side plate of fat. So raw Iberico pork fat, and then raw beef suet chunkies. Cannot forget the wiggly jiggly bone broth
Very wiggle.
in the adorable mug.
Alright, let's
Time
go.
to eat, yo! Alright, that about wraps up today's video. So just 2 reminders for you guys. If you haven't yet subscribed to our newsletter, we will be sending out a newsletter every single Sunday, and you can subscribe on our website, which I will link in the description below. And this newsletter will contain a full week's worth of workouts and other exciting news, like this upcoming Thursday.
So that's tomorrow for
yeah,
y'all.
January 30th, tomorrow, we will be on the TV show The Doctors.
The Doctors.
The Doctors. And so
it's us with Dr. Paul Saladino. So to say that it was like an orchestrated attack would be a little bit of an understatement.
You'll just have to see how we did. Okay,
Just
we
check
were
it
there
out.
trying to defend Carnivore, and I'll put in a link in the description where you can find your local airtime and listing.
Yes.
So until then,
Behave like an angel.